Hi everyone, this is Yolanda. I'm sorry I'm late. What can I say? Dogs really do eat your homework, and computers really do lose your work after you've worked on something for a long time. So it's good to be reminded of that during this time in the semester, right? These things really do happen. All right, I wanted to begin by just highlighting a couple of takeaways from Warnock's chapter 6 and 13 that I'm starting with, mostly because I want to make sure that I take this with me and that I don't lose it as I transition to an English 100 online format. So, this idea from Warnock's of redundancy, right? Guideline 17. Redundancy, he says, is crucial when you deliver information in your online courses. Um, so, how do your course documents provide information to students in multiple ways, right? So with deadlines and things like that. Have number two, have a weekly plan, right? A set of activities or a routine, a weekly routine that structures what students do each week. And the question here that I have is how can I map the most important work I do in my face to face class here onto a weekly plan that I create, right? And I found Warnock, he offers us a sample weekly plan in Appendix B that I found incredibly useful in thinking about how to organize my online writing course. He says on chapter 13, Warnock writes, not having a consistent set of deadlines is like asking students to attend an on-site course in which they never know the meeting time until the class begins, right? And here he's talking, obviously, in this chapter about pacing and deadlines and things like that. But I think that this quote also applies to the weekly plan above, right? And just how important structure and organization and consistency is in an online course so that students, there's a predictability, right? A habit that you develop early on. Creating a file organizational scheme for your Canvas courses and a system for naming files. Both are things you're going to post for your students, right? The course content, but also what students submit. And then um, identifying and explaining your clear file naming conventions to students in several ways, including your syllabus. That was really important to me in my own course development. And also from chapter 13, create a structure of deadlines and predictable elements for your class so that students become comfortable with the course schedule. So his pre-term questions include when is the best time for to have reading deadlines, and then from Curry, when is the best time for email post deadlines, right? So if there's a discussion post that's due, when is the best time to have that be due? And then also, what techniques will you use to keep students informed of what is due each week? And the question of can you create a set of consistent activity dates in the class, right? Um, so these were the really important takeaways from Warnock for me. And what I wanted to do next is, so in reading Warnock and just from the video Curry shared with us about his English 100 class, I'm really would like to develop this weekly plan, right? And I'm really thinking about what my weekly plan would look like. I think that would be a big step for me if I could do that, sort of develop a template for that weekly plan. So I was trying to think of how to do that, right? How to begin that, right? So obviously looking at other online courses that are available through us is one way. um, and the way I'm approaching it is I want to share with you a template that I created, right? With my unit instructional cycle, right? For about a year, I've used the accelerated English 100 unit instructional cycle format that was developed by Katie Hearn at Shabbat College as part of the California Acceleration Project, and I want to show it to you just because I think it's a really useful tool. If you, like me, are in the process of making that transition to online English 100, well, or online teaching in general, right? So here, um, this is the Accelerated Online English 100 instructional cycle. It's not mine, it's Dr. Hearn's. And, I'm going to put these resources on the post and then like link them so that you can see like this is available online. If you do a quick search, you can find her templates online, and there's different versions of this. But anyway, this is also in addition to online English. It's accelerated, it's online, and it's integrated reading and writing, and it's culturally responsive, and hopefully universally accessible, right? So there's a lot going on here, which is why it's hard for me to like figure out what my week's gonna look like. But here's one way that I think is helping me get started with this, right? So the instructional cycle for Accelerated English 100 includes a set of pre-reading activities. So what I've done is, and the vocabulary here, right? Where Dr. Hearn explains, gives us examples of what these pre-reading activities might look like. This is this part of my graphic organizer, if you will, is hers with a bit of adaptation, like very minor adaptations that I made. But this is her wording right here, right? Straight from her handout. Um, And then what I did, I'm like kind of like, okay, so pre-reading activities, what am I doing in a face-to-face English 100 class? And then what would I do in an online English 100 class, right? Like uh what would transition, right? Or what could I do differently? So, there's pre-reading activities, there's post-reading activities, there's at-home reading activities, accountability, right, which in my case is reading quizzes using short answers, um, and then essay writing workshops, different kinds, right, depending on the needs of the class and also what you need to work on. So very focused, targeted peer review workshops. And then finally, submitting the essay evaluation process. So this is the instructional cycle, right, for each of the essays. So this I'm finding this tool very useful, and I've included also sort of some of the key handouts that I mention, or yeah, here in my own what I'm doing in my accelerated English 100 courses now. So, a sampling of handouts and assignments that I think could easily, maybe not easily, but they could migrate, right? So here's this one. I could see it's currently like a PDF, originally Word, but I could see a version of this uh, becoming a page on Canvas, right? And I could see that instead of this, you could actually have this video right here, right? So that's one example, metacognition. And then what would be really cool would be to actually find live links to the resources part of this handout. That could be really cool. So also here's another one that I use all the time. It's my set of sort of key concepts. It's a handout on genre. which includes the definition. Why does this matter? Why should you care about genre, right? How is it going to help you improve as a writer, student, thinker? And then a set of resources. These are not mine. I got these from the three C's. Um, some of them are mine, but I got the idea for having these handouts from three C's, and they're the writing about writing approach, which I'm really curious about and experimenting with. Okay, here's another questions for a second reading. Here's a graphic organizer. Shoot. I'm already at 10 minutes, so I'm going to try to go faster. But I could see with this graphic organizer, I could definitely see like how we could make this a Google Doc and have it like groups work to complete it, and it'd be really neat to see what they come up with, right? This is for what I think is a difficult reading. Okay, so another example is this essay worksheet. So these are helpful for students, right, when they're having a hard time sort of with a structure of an essay to do this. You could do this as a generative activity to sort of get them students to help them figure out what they're going to write about, or you could do this once they already have a draft, right, so that they can learn to read rhetorically and kind of see the overall structure of their essay. And okay, so I'm going to finish here. Looping back to our last unit on equity, accessibility, and universal design. So I have a handout here on accessible PDFs. Um, and we all post PDFs online when we on our Canvas courses, just in our face-to-face Canvas courses. But I think it's really important to make sure that your PDFs are universally accessible for obvious reasons. Main one, well, yeah. 6 things we can do before our course begins to make our course welcoming to our diverse students. Send a welcome letter to let students know they'll be okay even if they feel unprepared. Send them a welcome video so they can A, see how cool you are, and B, get excited about the work ahead. I think it's best to make the video kind of fun. You do something funny or share something personal. Like if you struggled with school at any point in your life, share this. Include a diversity statement, which is like a paragraph saying this is a class that values diversity. Include a what is your preferred pronoun statement. There's this particular handout. Has just kind of explains why they matter, right? And begins with that. Include an image on your course shell that is culturally responsive, and that is super easy to do. So all you have to do is go to settings in your class and like drop an image in here, right? So the images in my courses are this is an image, a mural by Juana Alicia, and she's a San Francisco Bay Area Chicana muralist, pretty well known. You can find her stuff at juanalicia.com. And let's see, what else? Let me go back. Finally, in terms of equity, so I have not completely done this yet, although I'm moving fast in the direction of selecting books that are available for free as ebooks, either through our MiraCosta library or books that are open license through open educational resources. And I've linked here to kind of like books that are available for teaching English composition. All right, well, that's all I have. Thank you for watching. I hope you stopped after the first 7 minutes. I look forward to viewing your videos and our conversation next week.